How you doing, YouTube? Today we're back with a brand new video. So today's video is a ceiling reskin, and this is the same job that you see me. I think it was 2 videos ago when I had the problem with the walls sliding and then not setting correctly. We did have a similar issue here in the ceiling, but not too as much. It wasn't as bad. But yeah, so I want to just take a minute to say, if you just want to support the channel, you can go and check out my Patreon. The link's in the description. Also, if you don't want to directly give money, I have affiliate links in the description, which are linked to tools that I use every day. So if you want to go and buy one of them, then I get a percentage. If you click the link and then you just search for something else that you're going to buy and buy that, I also get a percentage. And it's a good way to support me without actually giving me money directly. Yeah, but so with a ceiling always, and especially with a big ceiling like this, you're not going to reach, you'll see here from left to right, there'll always be a space in the middle. So what I like to do is bring the whole ceiling with me. So instead of coming, like I would down the back, along the left, and then back the other way and leave a big space in the middle, what I'll actually do is I'll bring it down so far and I'll drop back and I'll fill it, the space in between. So like you can see here, I've brought the ceiling halfway out, and basically all this does, it means that the whole ceiling on that side is setting at the same time. Obviously the stuff in the bucket, the bottom of the bucket, not interacting with the air, is going to set just ever so slightly later than the stuff that's thin and on the ceiling reacting to the air. So I try to bring the ceiling up all as one, and then this means that the left and the right are both setting at the same time. I hope I explained that right, but basically you don't want to come up one side and then go down the other side and skim until the old plaster, the plaster that you put on first, because it's going to be slightly more set and you have more chance of seeing imperfections where the already set in plaster and the not set in plaster meet. It's just a tip for doing big ceilings. Most people doing DIY, this sort of ceiling I think would probably be unattainable, at least for a while anyway. I would advise to sort of do a lot of walls or smaller ceilings before you ever try to get something this big. And again, this wouldn't be sort of the biggest ceiling that I've ever done. Like, I've probably done ceilings 2 to 3 times the size. But I always bring out the speed skim on the bigger ceilings for the first coat especially. It gives you that little bit of speed getting it closed in. So if I was to try to close this in, just with my regular trowel, it's probably going to take me double the time. And because I've other things to put on, like I put this ceiling on, and then you can see there's like a wall there with the extractor fan on it. I put that wall on, and a wall in a bedroom as well. So I need to get the first coat sort of straightened in as soon as you can. Using the speed skim, a lot of times you'll get lines left by the edges, and you'll see here I'll just come and flatten any lines out. That just makes sure that none of that shows through in your next coat. And then we just go ahead with the same process, throwing on this second coat. Now this ceiling, when you're doing sort of bigger ceilings like this, when you throw them on, I would always tend to close them in before I get down off the stilts to do anything else. Before I would throw anything else on, I would close the ceiling in, and you'll see me doing that. And it's a good habit to get into, because what you'll find is if you put this big ceiling on, and then you get down and just leave it sort of untidy, when you come back, especially if you have other things on, when you come back to trowel it in, the stuff will probably already have started to take up, and if that is the case, you're in trouble. You really need to know what you're doing to get sort of heavy lines and stuff out of it once it's already started to set on you. But yeah, so I have a few new video ideas. I plan on starting to sprinkle a few review videos in. Now, not every week, but sprinkle here and there, because there's some tools that I would like to specifically point out, and it's obviously nobody's paying me to review these tools or anything. It's just I want to show you the things that I use, that I think that would probably be helpful till experience spreads, but also people coming in till it new, or DIYers. I already have a review for, I think, the speed skim that I'm using here in this video. I have a review for that. But some of the things that I actually wanted to review, I use a circular saw quite a bit, and I would like to review just it's an air bar. Most of my tools are air bar, but I would like to review some of them and just give my opinions. And then I'm also going to do, within the next couple of weeks here, someone had suggested that they wanted to see a day in the life, so I'm going to try to do a day in the life. There's certain things that I can show and certain things that I can't, but like the likes of going to the builder's yard, what I'm planning on doing is setting the camera up in the front of the van and recording that way, but getting out with a camera on your head, it's not really going to fly for those sort of old school boys in the builders yard. I don't think they would appreciate it being filmed, but yeah, I'm going to do a day in the life video just to see. I think it would be interesting, sort of all the other things that go into skimming things, the likes of all the prep work and stuff that went into this that you won't ever see, but there was like, half a day spent covering things up and covering kitchens, and and I'm sure it's all stuff running back and forwards the builders' yards and stuff like that. I'm sure it's all something that you just would enjoy seeing. So I'm going to do a day in the life. So we're coming to the end here of putting the ceiling on. As I said, it was quite a big ceiling, and it was hard work. I'm 90% sure. You can see there straight away I go into closing the ceiling in. You can't go too early on a ceiling, and the stuff's too soft, and you basically just pull lines in it. What you're trying to do is get the lines out, and sometimes if you go too early, you'll just pull lines in till the skim again, which is pointless. But you can see here it's smoothing out nicely. By the time it took me to put the ceiling on, it had already started taking up and sort of was left nice for closing in. On these bigger ceilings, I'll always run them from left to right, or right to left, it doesn't matter, but what you want to try to make sure to do is to run them along your window. So if your window, you see here I'm going from one side to the other, and the way that I'm facing in this video, the window is there. So you want the window to be facing the way you're walking back and forward. It's just the best way of walking the ceiling. It just leaves it a nicer finish. Well, I find anyway. And the good thing about the sun shining on it this way, you'll get sort of like cross light, so I can see while I'm trialing this up that I haven't left any big humps or bumps, which is good. So the next stage here, I'm just getting the stilts on, and the next stage I'm going to cut this ceiling. So you seen on the last video, the one that went wrong, I explained sort of the close up the process of what we're doing here. So you can see that I'm agitating the plaster with the water brush, and someone said it's sort of like sponge floating, and in a way it is. It's basically the same it's the same thing that you're doing. You're agitating the plaster, and then we'll run the ceiling the same way. The good thing about doing ceilings is at the start it's very hard. It's like really heavy work, but as you go on, each coat becomes, or each trowel becomes easier and easier. And walking the ceiling with your hand locked in front of you is a lot easier than troweling from the bottom up a wall or from the top down. I actually prefer ceilings, believe it or not. I work for a guy, he was from Lisbon or something, but we were working in houses in Belfast, just house bashing, and basically what I done was then I went, so it was a housing estate, and the process that we used for doing it was that I went into the house first. I skimmed all the ceilings out, usually the first one the other guys helped me with. We skimmed all the ceilings out, and then I hopped into the next house and I skimmed all the ceilings in the house on my own, while the other boys skimmed all the walls in the house previous. And the whole time I was just jumping a house in front and skimming on the ceilings, because it's my favourite thing to do, skimming, is ceilings. I don't know, I just find it therapeutic in a way, I would say. You can see the difference, or the plaster where it's been agitated, it's sort of like a light white colour, and then you'll see here the brush is agitating, and then the trowel will cut everything off, all the stuff that you don't want, it's all getting cut off in this trowel, and it leaves a nice tidy job. More likely I could probably get away with leaving the ceiling, and that's the truth. Like it's that flat at this stage that I could definitely get away with not giving it another trowel, but the second trowel just makes it nice and smooth, and just any little imperfections, it takes them out. Yeah, so if you're ever like digging holes out, like if you've sort of found something, you know, a hole, or you chip the plaster with your trowel as you're moving, never use the watery fat on your trowel. Always go to your bucket, and use the stuff on the edge of your bucket, because that's if you use the stuff off your trowel, the watery stuff, it doesn't look right. It dries, and there's a clear difference between that and the original like the plaster that you're troweling up. It's like, it really does make a big difference. Yeah, so the next trowel then is going to be our last trowel, and it's our flexi. And again, I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but our flexi trowel is the one that just leaves everything perfect. So you can see here that the big black patch in the middle of the ceiling. So we call this it turning black. You can sort of see there's like a pattern on the ceiling. There's bits darker than other bits, and that's also the plaster starting to set. This is the time you want to get on it with a flexi. If you go before this with a flexi, the plaster will tear. If you leave it too long, obviously you're not going to get as nice a finish. Like you can, right up until it's set, you can go with a flexi, because you can put so much pressure on it. But just as it starts to turn colour, that's the best time. So from when we put the plaster on the wall till this stage is around 2 hours. Yeah, but if you're enjoying this video, I would appreciate if you go into the description and check out my Patreon. There's going to be exclusive videos, shout outs, Q&As, all that sort of stuff, and there's probably going to be more things in the future. And also, if you want to go and have a look at my Amazon affiliate links, all the tools that I'm using in this video are linked in the description. If you check them out, if you buy something, I get a percentage. If you go on to buy something through the link that's not the tool, I still get it as long as you've clicked on the link. But yeah, so we're just using the same process. We're brushing the water. We're not really doing as much to agitate the plaster this time. We're just really trying to get it wet. We want a nice even wetness. At this stage, the plaster really starts to draw moisture. So if you brush the water on, and you don't directly go over it with your trowel, the water will be gone within a few seconds. So as you can see here, there's no stopping. We just keep going. Yeah, we just keep it going, and we'll finish the ceiling, and that's it. If you enjoyed the video, guys, bash the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Check out our social media. We have TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. Check out all our socials. Appreciate you watching the video, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.